Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. This is TheSketchMonkey here. Today we're going to talk about Infiniti, and more specifically the QX50 and the QX55. The thing or the problem with Infiniti is the typical problems that a lot of manufacturers has, but I think Infiniti has it in a larger scale, and that is they show a beautiful, awesome looking concept car, and then it goes into production and pretty much everything that was cool about the concept is lost in production. And that happens with the QX50 and the 55 here as well. So I'm going to show you the inspiration concepts that was released just a couple of years ago and how that translated into the brand new 2022 QX55 SUV. There's too much of a gap between them in design, language, and philosophy, and more on that later in the video. First, let's have a look at the brand new 2022 Infiniti QX55 SUV here, and what exactly separates this model from the QX50. Well, it does share a lot of the mechanical parts and an interior design with the QX50, but of course has more of a coupe style exterior to compete with the BMW X4, for example, and the Mercedes-Benz GLC class coupe. However, this isn't just Infiniti following a trend that we've seen the past 5 years or so, because they were way early with this type of coupe SUVs with the FX SUV back in 2003 already. That's one of the coolest looking SUVs of the time. I think that's still one of the best looking coupe SUVs that's ever been made, and that was made in 2003. You can see a lot of the similarities from the granddaddy of the SUVs coupes in the new 2022 QX55, such as the sloping roofline, of course, and the rear fenders, which is a lot beefier than those on the regular SUV, the QX50. And that's not the only thing that's separating the 55 from the 50. You also have a larger front grille with an origami-inspired mesh, a unique front bumper, and individual lighting elements in the rear, so the taillights is kind of separated by individual small lights, reminiscent of the redesigned Infiniti QX60. Now, the 55 is powered by a 268 horsepower turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, and you also get all-wheel drive as standard, and that is something you don't get in the QX50. So what about acceleration? Well, you can expect a 0 to 60 time in about 6.4 seconds. One thing I really like about the QX55 are the 20-inch stock wheels. These are standards and will come as standard with its unique design on the coupe SUV model. There hasn't been any details on the pricing yet from Infiniti, but we expect it to be just a bit more expensive than the QX50 models when it goes on sale. And this is just a proof that people actually pay more for design than practicality, especially in this segment here with the SUV coupes, because you lose a lot of space in the rear, but some think it's a cooler shape than a regular boxy SUV. So what about the price here for the QX55? Well, the base model, the Luxe model, will most likely start around $43,000 with the top level sensory trims landing at $50,000 plus, and it's expected to go on sale in the US this spring. Alright, so now let's have a look at the production QX55 and compare it to the beautiful inspiration concepts from just 2 years ago. So here we have the very generic looking QX55 SUV, which with the sloping rear, and compared to the QX50, this is the, of course, coupe version of this SUV. And just have a look at this beautiful concept from 2018, the Q Inspiration. Just look at how clean and solid this design is. It has a lot more confidence in its lines. You immediately would recognize this design as an Infiniti because it doesn't look like anything else. It has both curvatures in the design right here in combination with very sharp and distinct key lines of the design, and that is what I love about these concepts, this and the sedan concept as well. But unfortunately, for some reason, none of this coolness translated into the production version of the QX55, which to me is just a huge missed opportunity by Infiniti. Now, I know that this concept specifically down here the Q inspiration is supposed to be an electric vehicle, which means that the grille is not going to be as pronounced or even existing on the car. But that doesn't have really anything to do with this comparison that I'm doing here. This design is not even close to what the production version of the concept looks like. And I would have loved to see this design come into life, into production. Now, I know there are a lot of you who would say, well, there is a lot that goes into play when you go from concept to production. And yeah, sure, it's gonna cost a lot more money to make a concept like this feasible for production, and it wouldn't look exactly like this. The wheels would change, the proportions would change, but what I'm talking about here and what I'm gonna redesign later is the graphic features of the body of the car. So the proportions of this can still be the same as the production version, but we implement some of this design, cool design language that we have in the inspiration concepts down there into the production version and really establish the identity of what Infiniti is, because this to me might as well be a Mazda CX-5 or even some sort of Kia. The only recognizable thing about the Infiniti in the top is that we have the badge in the front, of course, and then we have the Infiniti grille, but this in itself is not a big enough of an identifier for a big brand like Infiniti when they could have established something like this. And I also love this Koenigsegg style windshield here without the visible A-pillar. The A-pillar kind of sits behind the glass. It's a really cool looking style. That would drive the engineers nuts if you were to propose something like that to go into production, because it's going to cost a heck of a lot more than creating just a regular A-pillar like this. Another thing that I think is really cool about the Infiniti inspiration concept down here is that these letters at the bottom here, they light up. So even if you weren't sure about what car it is, it's gonna tell you in the front, because the entire letters, the Infiniti letters in the bottom there is lit up at night, so you could see, you could read whatever brand this is. So now let's have a look at the rear here and compare the rear to the concept, because this is where I think it gets really interesting. This looks to me like it could be any Korean or Asian brand with this styling. It could even be, it has some Ford Edge, the previous generation, in its proportions. I can feel some Ford Edge in there. It doesn't have any solid identifiers or design language that sets it apart from everything else. Same thing here. Just look at how cool and how much of a unit this concept is at the bottom. There's nothing translated from this design into the production version of the car. Unfortunately, this is all kind of wavy here. We have some creases going here, and then this goes into the rear end of the car, and then we have these cuts in the body in the back here that is nothing like the very clean looking concept down here. And then you see this crease down here. This is a typical mass-produced design touch that pretty much every single car has. But what if they would have taken this approach instead, to have almost two straight lines like that connected with a small radius like this? It creates almost a bit of a product design feel to the design, and it's not a lot of brands that do that these days. Polestar is one of them that has a lot similar feeling to the concept here in their production cars. But I would love to see this go into the Infiniti QX55 as well. And there is nothing about the graphics in the rear here that is reminiscent of the concept down there as well. So what I want to do here is to take the feel and the vibe of this super sharp, more like a solid unit concept that is the inspiration concept down there, and apply this design language onto these proportions. So we're not going to change anything about the proportions of the car. So if you were an engineer and you were talking about manufacturing processes and stuff like that, the only thing I'm going to change is how the lines are implemented in the body of the car. So it's pure styling, it's pure graphic design that I'm going to change of the car to make it look more like this awesome concept down here. Alright guys, the redesign is done and I think it turned out really cool. Just tiny changes and tiny updates to the design language of Infiniti, going from what we're used to seeing them as very fluent or very curvy and emotional design to turn it into something more sterile, which I think suits a different type of brand. This type of design that we have on the Infiniti inspiration concept, it suits more of an upscale brand in my opinion. So here we have, of course, the before and then we have the after right here. So it's all about tightening up the designs and creating more sharpness in the design in the corners, specifically around the greenhouse up here, as you can see, compared to the previous or the stock version of the QX55, and also have some more line flow here and make the shoulder line as strong as we have on the concept down here and have it go into this ducktail in the rear, and also make these taillights more distinct, not have them be so much of a curve but more of a hockey stick design like we have here. Even though this is reversed on the concept down here, we can still use this philosophy into those taillights that we have on the production vehicle. And another thing I wanted to really clear up here was the rear end. When it comes to these air outlets here, I think these are just, you see them on all kinds of cars right now. I did a redesign of the BMW X6 Coupe, which looks a lot messier than the QX55. Compared to that, this is like a clean sheet of paper. But that has also these weird outlets or air outlets or whatever it is, just styling cuts in the body of the car, and I don't understand why so many manufacturers put them on there when they're not functional at all. So I wanted to remove that, and of course it doesn't have anything like that on the concept here. You can see just how clean and how defined the rear end is on the concept down here. So why not apply that to the design that we have up top there? So this is the before and the after right here, and this was a fun, quick little redesign. And I wanted to talk about this because you see it all the time with concepts from manufacturers. They come out with really exciting concepts, such as I hope Subaru, the WRX concept, I can't remember what it's called, but they've shown it a couple of times. I hope the new WRX will look like that because it looks like a beast, but I'm pretty sure they will tone it down massively for production. So some brands do this really well. I think Volvo specifically and Polestar in particular do this very well, because when you see a Polestar concept coming out now, you can almost bet on that the changes from, you're barely gonna see any changes from concept to production. So you can get really excited when Polestar, for example, will show you a concept. I hope to see the precept come out just as the concept was looking like, and they say there's not going to be a lot of changes there in the design, and that's what I want to see with more brands. Some do it well, like Polestar, and some do it less well, like Infiniti here, where it's a completely different car, both in proportions, but also in graphic design and styling. Thank you so much for watching. I'm TheSketchMonkey. Take care, and I will see you in the next video.